Oline, and salutations once more to the Truth Core, whoever and wherever you may be on the planet. This is once again yours truthfully, recording on the 9th of September 2021 with a brief PSA, a public sanity alert. This alert concerns development in the realm of law or legal matters. And I find it worthy of consideration due to the way things tend to develop in our world, rather in the way that a great river may emerge from a small trickle. Well, things happen like that in the legal world as well. There may be a small case. It seems incidental and trivial when you look at it. But if that legal case sets a precedent, then all subsequent legal arguments that are relevant to the topic can be based on that precedent. So the first case is like the trickle, but after that, it develops into a major legal protocol. And the legal protocol, of course, becomes a means of enforcement upon the general public who know nothing, usually know nothing, about the first case that set the precedent. So I'm referring here, without mentioning names, to two legal cases which have occurred. One was some years ago in Canada, and the current one is recent, and that has appeared in the UK, in England. So I'm counting on you to get the drift of what I'm saying here. I'm saying in summary that a legal precedent, the basis for a legal statute that has been established in one small incidental case can eventually turn into the basis for imposing legal restrictions much more widely. First of all, in the country where the case was established, and then, who knows, eventually, the legal precedent could be extended to the entire world. For instance, there was that case in Canada, and due to that case, an individual was forbidden to say the word chew, or to refer to the act of chewing. Now, that incident is largely unknown in the general public, but it's possible that that incident could at some point be applied to the general public. This is significant because it concerns the action of the authorities to forbid things, to make things forbidden, not only to make actions forbidden, but to make certain words forbidden, certain statements of fact can be forbidden by law, you see. This is how it develops. It's quite nefarious and really, really dangerous. It constitutes an enormous danger to human freedom and freedom of expression, as it's called. And one example of this development that may have come to your notice concerns the laws against hate speech. And these two incidents that I'm citing fall into that category. So what's it all about, Rome? By the way, that's Gnostic jargon for the various races of the human species. It comes from the Coptic word for humanity, which is Rhome, spelled Rhome. Well, it's about forbidding the use of a single word, a single term. Why is it forbidden to say the word chew? Well, it isn't forbidden to you and I right now, but eventually it could be. That could happen if these two incidents, which have set a precedent, were applied more widely, and there's a good chance that they will be, then it might happen before too long that no one is allowed to say the word chew. Why not? Well, let me give you a summary of what happened in these two cases. And these are actual court cases, by the way, involving certain individuals whom I will not name. It may seem quite absurd and quite ridiculous at the outset that anyone would be forbidden from using the word chew. After all, chew is a word in English. It's a verb, to chew, and it is a term that defines a common action of life, something that we do all the time, and indeed, if we didn't chew, we wouldn't live. So to chew means to eat your food by masticating. So you use your jaws and you chew food, and in chewing it, you taste it, and you prepare it for digestion when you swallow it. So to chew is an essential function of life. All animals chew their food. Some animals, like dogs, have a tendency to scarf down their food. But basically, the design of animal life for carnivores and other animals requires that they chew their food. It's a healthy thing to do. To be forbidden to say the word chew goes directly to a basic biological function. At this point, the law doesn't say that you can't chew, but it does say that you can't mention that you're chewing. Why not? How could there possibly be such a law? The basis for it goes back to these two cases. These two individuals exhibited a behavior. They chewed on something. And upon chewing, they were able to taste what they were chewing. So perhaps I could illustrate this bizarre situation by reference to information rather than food. For instance, a report on the mainstream media. You digest this report, you digest information, but first you have to chew information if you're going to digest it properly. But in fact, the law implies that you would swallow this information without chewing it. You see the point? So to chew really means to work over something, to discriminate, to taste something and discriminate and know what it is that you're going to be digesting. If I give you a morsel of a sautéed carrot cooked in olive oil with certain spices, and I put it on the end of a fork, and I give it to you, and you put it in your mouth, and you swallow that morsel of carrot without chewing it, then you are not really benefiting from what you are taking into your body or by extension into your mind, you see. So don't say the word chew, which is where it stands right now, may possibly go to another law that says don't chew at all. And that law means just swallow everything that's put in your mouth. Don't work it over. Don't try to get the taste of it. And it may taste really bad. You see, if the carrot that I gave you, the piece of carrot was rotten, and you simply gulped it down without chewing, you wouldn't know that you were eating something rotten, you see. So there's a possibility with the extension of this law that you would be required to digest things, information, without tasting it and without applying discernment and discrimination. You know, when you sit at a dinner table and you chew your food, chew it thoroughly, you really know what you're eating and you prepare it properly for digestion, then your body can take it and make the best of the nutriments that are in that food. But if you just gulp it down or have it shoved down your throat, then you're not chewing. So you see what I'm getting at here. It could be just one step from forbidding you to say the word chew to forbidding you to chew at all. So I'm making this brief public sanity alert to warn you about this. Procedures are underway that could lead in that direction. At the moment, there are only 2 trickles. There are 2 cases, at least the recorded cases that I've discovered, where individuals, a man and a woman, are forbidden to say the word chew. I rely on you to make of that what you will, using your common sense and your intelligence. And in concluding, I might assist you a little bit in assessing this development by pointing out an ancient precedent to this precedent. Curious. You know, I am a historian of religions, and I have, in particular, looked really deeply into ancient religions and into the origin of the Abrahamic religions. As you know, that's a main topic in my book, Not in His Image. How did the Abrahamic religions originate? I go quite deeply into that question. And I can assure you that when you investigate the Abrahamic religions, you will find that there is a unique taboo, a unique prohibition at the foundation of the doctrines of the Yehudin, the ancient Hebrews of the Middle East, who belong to the Armenoid races. And it so happens that there is a prohibition contained from the origin in their religion. And that is the prohibition to vocally pronounce the name of their supreme deity. Did you know that? No one is allowed vocally, openly, to say the name of God in the Semitic language of that tradition. This is a fact. It's well known to historians of religion. Now, I don't know of any other case similar to that. I might have missed something. Of course, I certainly don't know everything, and the history of religions is a vast field. But there is no question whatsoever that this is an outstanding factor of taboo. The way you find it stated is, the way you find it indicated is by the use of this strange word, tetragrammaton. Tetragrammaton means a word composed of 4 letters. Tetra is 4. So those 4 letters are the written form of the name of the supreme deity of a certain Semitic language group from the Middle East. Remember, Semitic refers to language and not race. And it so happens that there is a long-standing tradition from the origin persisting to today, wherein the adherents of that religion never say that name. In fact, they use a substitute. They use the word Hashem, which means the name. So it's as if I were to say to you, you are forbidden to pronounce the name of Napoleon, the actual historical person, Napoleon. And so when you refer to Napoleon, you must simply say the name. So you say, the name did that. The name invaded Russia. The name did this or that or the other thing, which are the deeds accomplished by Napoleon. But you can never say that Napoleon accomplished them. You can only say the name accomplished them. And this is a long-standing and deeply serious religious rule among those people who recognize their supreme God in the formula of the tetragrammaton. So that's a little morsel from the history of religions. I thought you might find it entertaining and perhaps instructive. I do consider it remarkable that the religious prohibition against saying the name of the Supreme Creator God matches, in a way, the prohibition of saying the word chew. You could argue that those two prohibitions, one ancient and one modern, really mirror each other, don't they? Now, I could conclude on that point, but while I'm at it, let me throw something else at you. Something else about the prohibition to say the name of a presumed deity or a presumed spiritual or supernatural being. There's a rule that comes out of European history, out of the lore of the Middle Ages. And a brilliant illustration of this rule occurs in Goethe's long poem, Faust. So when Faust meets Mephisto, it so happens that he asks Mephisto his name. But Mephisto never says his name to Faust. He never tells Faust who he is. Why doesn't he do that? Because the ancient wisdom concerning transactions with supernatural beings states that if you can name a demon, you can control it. So the last thing that Mephistopheles, wants Faust to do is to know his name and say his name like you would say, chew. Mephisto doesn't want Faust to say that, because if he does, Faust then has the power and the capacity to overcome the evil spirit that he names. Enough said, and I'll be seeing you in the beauty to come.